Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. How to see and get free from toxic people. Toxic people tend to drag you down and make you feel awful. In this video, we'll explore how to truly see and get free. Here are 8 signs of a toxic relationship. Number 1, you feel obligated to spend time with that person and fearful of telling them if you don't want to hang out. Number 2, you feel like you're putting on a front when you're with them and don't feel like you're really being yourself. Number 3, you wonder if they really care about you. Number 4, you worry that they're talking badly about you when you're not there. And number 5, you suspect they see you as less than, not as attractive, smart, interesting, or in some other way not as good as they are. Number 6, you feel exhausted by spending time with them instead of energized. 7, you feel depressed, anxious, or negative after being with them instead of uplifted, joyful, encouraged, or happy. And number 8, you sometimes wonder what it would be like to separate from that person for good, and you think it might be a relief. If any of these 8 signs ring true for you, stay tuned. You're likely in a toxic relationship and need help sorting it out and getting out. How do we end up in a relationship that's toxic to us? Well, sometimes it sneaks up on us. As a relationship will start out positively when everybody's on their best behavior, but then kind of goes south when everyone's more comfortable. We often get sucked into staying because the relationship was good and we think we can get back to that great place. Don't be duped by that kind of thinking. The current behavior is probably what you've got, and if it's not great, don't think you can recapture something earlier. That was, like I said, probably everyone being on best behavior, and it's not what that real person is like. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves and ask why we allow ourselves to treat others to treat us poorly without setting limits and boundaries. You might want to go back and watch the 2 videos on boundaries. Some general types of toxicity. I've narrowed them down. Number 1 is the controlling, self-centered one. This is the person who's always all about themselves. If they're not the center, they're miserable. And if they're not in control, heads will roll. Being with them likely makes you feel anxious as you're constantly having to monitor their mood and emotions and whether you're all paying enough attention to them. Number 2 is the emotional vomiting one. This person often sees themselves as the victim in every circumstance. They continually bombard you with the drama of their lives to the extent you feel completely overwhelmed. Sometimes you start as a compassionate friend for them, but later realize they're not really seeking to move forward into a new chapter, and that any positive suggestions are really not needed or heeded, and you feel like your breath is wasted. You realize they're continually wallowing in this stuck place, looking for sympathy and to be coddled. And although compassion and caring are obviously important in our relationships, this is really not that. This person wants you to rescue them, and honestly, that's not our job or not even possible. In this person's presence, we often feel exhausted and depressed. Number 3, the gossip. This person talks down about people constantly. You might notice that this is their primary or even their only source of conversation. At first, you feel special because they build you up while running others down, but eventually you realize you're probably the source of the put-downs when you're not there. And for sure, you're right. You have a hard time telling this person you're not going to hang out when they ask, partly because you don't ever want to be the subject of their put-downs, and partly because you realize you're not really valued or cared for and you want to keep trying to earn that spot. Number 4 is the angry one. This person is chronically angry at the world. They hate their boss, their job, their spouse, their siblings, their neighbors. It doesn't matter. They're angry and venting all the time. Initially, you think you're valued as a good friend who supports their difficult life, but eventually you realize their anger has kind of an addictive quality, and they seem to love their venting. The more curse words, the better. You often feel down after hanging out with them as this toxic anger is just draining. Number 5, the sickly one. Hypochondriacs are another form of toxicity, and hanging out with them means listening to the endless details of their current ailments. Often you initially have compassion, but later realize this is a chronic condition of their emotions, and they seem to have a need to garner sympathy and support through focusing on their ailments. Eventually, you're not sure if these are legitimate physical problems or more of a habit of maximizing the normal aches and pains of life. Of course, we're all sick, tired, frustrated, or needing to vent sometimes. But toxic people are this way all the time and suck the life out of you with their needs. They rarely let up and they never offer reciprocity. So what do? Number one, realize the truth of what you're seeing in that person. This is what it is. Number two, see what they see in you. What's often true of toxic people is that they have a knack for zeroing in on people pleasers. If you're a people pleaser, you're in their crosshairs. And to get free, you have to realize that your specialness to them is not necessarily a good thing. Number three, take care of yourself by setting boundaries with them and or separating from them if these 8 signs ring true or if they fit one of these types of toxicity. And number four, take care of yourself by finding others who are able to have healthy relationships. People who are open, sharing, fun, energizing, positive, engaging, uplifting, and reciprocal. If you appreciated this video, hit like and subscribe with the red button. Also, leave some comments, suggestions, or questions in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.